The DA plans to approach the Independent Police Investigative Directorate into apparent negligence in the case of the Soweto teenager who was recently gang raped, and the Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife CEO says Lake St. Lucia is a fitting site for today's celebration of UNESCO's One Day on Earth campaign. Ambusisiwa Khadebe with the latest news update. The Democratic Alliance plans to approach the Independent Police Investigative Directorate to conduct an investigation into apparent negligence in the case of the Soweto teenager who was recently gang raped. It's alleged that the mother of the 17-year-old went to the police station on 2 previous occasions to report that the child had been raped, but she wasn't taken seriously. The DA's Kate Lorimer says detectives should have called in social workers and trauma counselors and made sure that the mentally challenged teen was safe.
The family has been failed by the very people who should be protecting this young girl. There's a huge stigma which still faces families of mentally challenged individuals in many communities. And this attitude shouldn't be upheld by the SAPS. So I'm going to be going to the IPID and asking them to conduct an investigation into the negligence of the police in investigating the 2 previous rapes that this girl suffered.
The newly elected youth league leaders in Limpopo have committed themselves to ensure the economic emancipation of young people, with particular focus on youth employment. They have once again thrown their weight behind suspended youth league leader Julius Malema. The 3-day Provincial Youth Congress in Polokwane drew to a close this afternoon. Meanwhile, the organizers of the parallel ANC Limpopo Youth League conference have resolved to dissolve the league's branches in the province in preparation for a relaunch at a later stage. The disgruntled members held their parallel conference in Seshego after they were barred from the Provincial Youth League conference in Polokwane. Boy Mamabolo, who was elected provincial chairperson by the parallel conference, denies that it was illegitimate and showed ill discipline among members of the ANC Youth League.
We have agreed that all the regions in the province should be disbanded so that we start afresh by putting the regional tax teams in the province, because the league was dying. It was in the ICU. People were running the league as if it was a Ratanang family trust, and therefore we are going to build it from the scratch.
And lastly, Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife CEO Bandile Mkhize says Lake St. Lucia is a fitting site for today's celebration of UNESCO's One Day on Earth campaign. Mkhize cited the success of Isimangaliso Wetlands Park around Lake St. Lucia as a source of increased job opportunities, especially for the local youth and elderly illiterate people. He's also hailed the park's achievement in successfully striking a balance between its core operation and ensuring the local community benefits from its activities. Meanwhile, Isimangaliso Wetlands Park chairperson Mavuso Msimang says they are doing their best to make the communities surrounding the park understand the whole concept of nature conservation. Catch our Cosatu Rally package on Option 7 and the latest news anytime here on Newsbreak Option 1.